In 1922, a quiet farm in rural Bavaria, Germany, became the site of one of the most horrifying and baffling mysteries ever recorded. The Gruber family, 6 innocent lives, were brutally murdered. To this day, no one knows who was responsible. But what makes this case truly chilling are the eerie details that have haunted investigators for over a century. This is the unsolved horror of the Hinterkaifeck Murders. The family living on this remote farm was headed by Andreas Gruber, his wife Casilia, their widowed daughter Victoria, and her 2 young children. They led a simple, hard-working life, but something strange began to unfold on the farm. A week before their murders, Andreas Gruber noticed footprints in the snow, footprints leading toward the house, but none leading away. But that wasn't all. The family began hearing footsteps from the attic. Andreas searched the entire house but found no one. Imagine the terror of knowing someone or something could be living above you, unseen. The family's fear grew, yet they remained silent, not realizing that their lives were already marked for death. On the night of March 31st, something horrific happened. One by one, each member of the Gruber family was led into the barn. They were bludgeoned to death with a mattock, a heavy farming tool. The killer then moved inside the house, finishing the grim work. Victoria's 2 children and the maid, who had just arrived that day, were murdered in their beds. Days passed before neighbors became concerned. No one had seen the family in town, and the farm had gone strangely silent. When they entered the barn, what they found was a scene of unimaginable horror. The bodies were stacked beneath hay, carefully concealed by the very person who had slaughtered them. Inside the house, the children's rooms were scenes of blood-soaked tragedy. Perhaps the most disturbing detail is that the killer stayed on the farm for days after the murders. Neighbors reported seeing smoke from the chimney, and the animals were fed. Inside the house, meals were eaten and fires were lit. It was as if the murderer had made themselves at home, while the bodies of their victims lay cold and hidden. When the police arrived, they were baffled. Despite interviewing dozens of suspects, there were no clear answers. There were no signs of forced entry, and nothing valuable had been stolen. Yet the strange footprints and the disturbing sounds from the attic lingered in their minds, as if something far darker than a simple murder had taken place. Theories about what happened on that cold March night have swirled ever since. Was it a neighbor, a vengeful worker, or something more sinister? Something from the dark woods, perhaps? The eerie footsteps, the bizarre behavior of the animals, the isolation of the farm. Some suggest a paranormal force was involved. After all, who else could have stayed on the farm, undetected, for days? The Hinterkaifeck farm was abandoned after the murders, left to rot along with the mystery that consumed it. The once thriving farmland became overgrown, the house collapsing into decay. Now it stands as a grim monument to the unsolved massacre, a place where ghosts of the past seem to whisper, their secrets forever buried in the ruins. To this day, the Hinterkaifeck murders remain unsolved. Was it a human killer or something more terrifying, hiding in the shadows of the farm? The truth may never be known, but the silence that hangs over the abandoned land serves as a reminder. Some horrors are never meant to be understood.